everybody, and welcome back to the Hang High Podcast, where we get together at the end of every week and talk about shit. My name's Han, and today we have a very special episode in store for you guys. But before we get into that, we're gonna just go ahead and introduce our co-hosts. Who do I have with me today?
My name is Boodle, and I'm kind of sexy.
It's your friendly neighborhood mother lover.
Dude,
And
that's catchphrase right there.
dude, so who do we got with us today?
Who do we have with
special
us?
guest?
Who's this little white boy?
I am the white boy. I am special guest
Yeah.
star, Michael, and I'm happy to be here.
So, Michael, since you're our guest today, we're gonna start off the discussion with you. How was your week? What did you do this week? Anything interesting? What happened?
I don't know. It's been kind of a boring week. Not much happened. Took the dog to the dog park. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Another dog sniffed his butt a lot. He got angry. It was a very slobbery dog that was sniffing his butt. Probably didn't like that. Let's see what else. And angry customers.
Yeah, typical. If you guys don't know, especially Spotify listeners, I'm sorry. This is Michael. This is my little scoochie boochie man. Yeah, he's a little shy right now. He's the embodiment of that like emoji with its fingers together, blushing.
Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my week basically is gonna be the same exact thing as his because we live together and we work at the same job. So there were angry customers, blah blah blah. But my day off was Friday, and you guys already know what I did Friday. Let's get into that real quick. So somebody, we're not going to name names or point fingers here, but somebody quote tweeted an Austin Knight tweet being very weird. And we're just going to start this off by apologizing to Austin Knight and Water Park. You were not meant to see that tweet. He quote tweeted it on his private account. And I was just chilling on the couch, and I was like, why the fuck is this tweet getting so much attention? Because they're just, like, getting likes, and then we were getting followed. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Yeah,
if
we
you were getting
got,
the notifications, but we're getting followed by fucking water park stands right now, and I just had to tweet out an announcement. I was like, this isn't what you think it is. We're, like, 3 fucking losers who just get high and talk out of our asses for, like, an hour. Like, this is not what you think it is. But... yeah, so I had to, like, set the record straight on that, and we're just gonna apologize to Austin Knight. I've been trying to get him on the podcast, but it hasn't been working, and I don't think it's gonna happen now, so...
Dude.
I think you should come on the podcast.
Yeah,
he looks like
he
a
has
Minecraft YouTuber.
Anyway,
Can I-
moving on.
Can I
You guys
hold
have a
on?
favorite
Can I
water
just?
park song?
What are you saying,
I
Jacob?
don't even know who
I
it is.
was about to say, I don't even know who this guy is.
I
That's
just saw
fine.
you posting on the account. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
I
don't
changed the
even know who this
profile
twink
picture,
is.
too, and, like, I
remember
just
op-
haven't... I haven't
Go
changed
ahead,
the
sorry.
profile picture back because I have it saved on my computer, and, like, I'm not logging into my computer just to change the fucking Twitter profile picture.
I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it.
I just remember opening my phone and, like, for some reason, like, whenever my Twitter came up, it was like I guess it logged me in as hanging high, and I saw the profile picture immediately, and I was like, the fuck? I was like, who is this? And then I
Yeah.
started like finding our tweets, and I was like, oh, that's why.
It's okay. But yeah, that was basically the most eventful part of my week. So moving on to the bald bitch. How's your week, babe?
My week was good. Let me tell you. One, me and Jacob will talk about, and
Oh.
Michael would definitely be interested in hearing about it. But I finished this book
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, actually, and I'm starting on the third one.
Mm-hmm.
Second one was crazy. It had sex in it, and it was kind of weird. But,
Sex.
Was it
Yeah.
like 50 Shades of Grey sex, or just
It kind of came out of nowhere. These two characters were kind of like not really. They didn't really talk a lot, but then all of a sudden they're just like, "You want to fuck?" And I'm just in the car like, "Okay, this is happening." And then the scene plays out a bit in the detail. I'm like, "All right, well, okay, that happened." And then they do it again later on. I'm like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Boodle's driving
now-
down the freeway listening to porn.
Yeah, dude, I had this old like
listening to soft
older British guy in my ear, like just like making the noises, and I'm like, you didn't have to go that far.
And
But
he
anyway.
was ravishing the cheeks of those he loved.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty much.
But
But
So
besides the sex, the book was very good. I'm interested to see where this final one goes.
I just love besides the sex. So, do you have
Yeah,
a
that
critique? Do
I
you have
don't
a
know.
critique on the writing?
That was the only parts that felt kind of weird, but I understand why they did it. It's just I wish it wasn't as in detail as it was.
dude,
But
Okay.
this author loves to go into detail with everything, especially like violent shit, dude. Dude, when there's a scene in the previous book where a guy gets his nipple cut off,
oh my god.
and it goes into detail of how it fucking Anyway, but
That's
it's a very dark fantasy book. If you're wondering, it's very
All
good.
right. All right.
But
Moving on.
what else happened?
So, my week was actually pretty slow this week.
Damn, I didn't even finish. Fuck you, Hammer.
Oh,
I had an
I'm so-
eventful week for once in my life.
okay. My bad.
Okay.
Go on.
I thought you were finished. That's my fault.
Let's see. At work, I had a lot of like sales, surprisingly. So that's been good. I've been getting, good commission. And then the last thing me and Jacob will talk about.
Yeah. So we'll meet in the middle afterwards because there's quite a bit to talk about because they were. Well, one, I'll just say this. One, were like on the last episode of a series that we started back in January, but we just like not really watched it like all in one sitting. Yeah, we've kind of spread it out actually pretty fast. But anyways, they're pretty far. But other than the stuff that me and Boodle did, I had a pretty shit week. Just work was slow. But I don't know. I just like. I guess my nephew from New York. He was he's been down here and been just kind of like hanging out with him. And last year he was like a solid, like I wouldn't say like a solid, but he was a very very bratty kid who liked Fortnite a lot. And this year he comes over and I'm like, dude, I was like, I got you some Fortnite toys. He's like, I appreciate it, but I don't play Fortnite anymore.
I'm a big boy now.
I'm like, okay, so what do you play? And he's like,
I play Valorant.
I've been playing GTA and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, so you've went from being a kid to a man. I'm proud,
There you go.
And so we were talking about video games, and he's actually like a wide receiver and a cornerback for his local middle school. So I was just like, dude, do you want to throw some football? And he was like, yeah. So I was like, there was a couple nights that I stayed down there for like 3 hours just throwing football with him, and it was just something that I feel like he needed and I needed too. So it was a pretty good week other than work. So, but yeah, but that's basically about it.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about the thing together now, or do you want to save it for?
Well,
Get it out of the way now.
well, yeah. Let's go ahead and get it out of the way.
We got a very interesting.
Get it out of the
amazing-
way.
I'll get you out of the way, bitch.
So, Boodle, we'll
Yeah.
start with what happened first, which was the show, because we
Yes.
did the other thing last night.
Yes.
So,
See,
Yeah, sex.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna interject here, but every time you're trying to like not like expose it to the like audience, you guys make it sound really weird and sexual.
I think we should just keep doing that as a running joke.
dude, it's a running joke.
God.
At this
Are
point, it's
they
a running
lovers?
joke.
Yes.
Maybe.
Oh, okay. I'm
No,
happy
they're
for
they're
you guys.
hetero
Me and
life
Jacob-
partners.
Hetero life.
I don't know if
We're-
Michael knows this, but me and Jacob have known each other since we were like in the first grade, right? It's
Mhm.
first or second grade.
It was
Friends
actually
together,
second
guys.
grade because that was whenever you had Miss Green as your teacher.
Yeah, dude, the screen was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Go on.
But anyways, so we have watched all but one episode of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, and
Mhm.
Boodle. So Boodle actually has some interesting takes on this, and I can appreciate it. Like
What do you mean?
you like as far as like the story building and like the world, like
Yeah.
the world in general, like the design of how they're doing everything, which is actually kind of interesting because a lot of people like shit on that show for like the plot and shit. So
Yeah. I think visually it looks pretty nice. I like the way the sense of scale for a lot of these places. Like when they showed that mountain on the first episode, that
yeah,
shit looked crazy. Like
oh yeah.
crazy detailed. And I don't know, the presentation of everything was really nice. Story wise, I mean, I don't really know how to feel about it yet. There's a lot of parts, I won't lie, that I'm kind of bored at. But the Elrond and the dwarf guy, Durin, that I
Yes.
like when they're on screen because they're funny. Because it's just like a genuine friendship. And then, what's the other one? I kind of like the Harfoot stuff. It's a little cute. And then
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's Gandalf, but I don't know.
See, so it the problem is it leaves him the character
Yeah.
unnamed for the first season. Like you don't know his name whenever the season ends.
Dude.
So basically, the speculation that I've seen is that it's Gandalf, but the thing that makes sense in J.R.R. Tolkien's lore is it would be the Blue Wizards because they came to Middle Earth during that second age, about that same
Mm.
time, the second age. So
Yeah.
if it's one of the Blue Wizards, I'll be really happy. But if it's Gandalf at the same time, I'll kind of be like, okay, well, I kind of see what they're wanting to do. Just kind of
Mhm.
write Gandalf into more of like I guess more powerful character.
Yeah.
Because he's lived for so long, and then he gets to the Lord of the Rings, dies Gandalf the Grey, and then becomes Gandalf the White, which
Dude.
is
Spoilers.
oh
Dude, that was
yeah,
crazy.
you can bleep it
Hannah,
out.
you're not gonna fucking watch these movies.
Spoilers. No, you're
Don't
right.
even. I'm sure
Yeah,
people.
What?
don't lie to them. You don't care about the Lord of the Rings.
I don't.
I was about to say you don't give a shit,
Yeah,
dude. I could
don't.
spoil Star Wars for you, and you wouldn't give a shit.
No, I wouldn't.
Have you guys seen
Dude, Star
Ant-Man
Wars.
yet?
No,
No.
No, we
actually,
haven't.
I saw Modok though. He looked funny.
Oh yeah,
Looked
Boodle
just
sent
like
me that tweet, and we chuckled over that for like 15 minutes.
Dude, he looks so funny.
Yeah,
I like that. I like
like
that chuckled.
You know, people are like ripping on the CGI again, but I honestly didn't think he looked that bad. I mean, it's a funny movie, and he looked funny.
I mean,
so.
yeah, it's fucking
Yeah.
Ant-Man. Do you really expect, like, from the beginning, Ant-Man's always just been fucking goofy and wacky. Do you really
Yeah.
expect, like, something serious? It's Paul Rudd.
Dude, Paul Rudd.
Okay.
I mean,
dude, Paul
like-
Rudd. I really like.
Wasn't
Paul
we
Rudd.
gonna go see a movie, Jacob?
Well, we were going to go see Ant-Man on opening night, but I was like unable to get off, and Boodle was like, "Yeah, I've already set my schedule." So,
Yeah.
That's
So I'm
um,
off tomorrow.
but we'll see. I don't know. I definitely won't be able to do it tomorrow because my grandma that passed away 2 years ago. Tomorrow is her birthday. So at the time we're filming this is Saturday, so tomorrow being Sunday, that's what my evening plans are going to be.
Mm.
But yeah. But anyways, I won't be able to make it this time, but I do get days off next week, so we'll see if we can coordinate something on that. But we still have to go fucking watch Cocaine Bear.
Dude,
Oh my God.
I don't
Oh,
know if I
man.
actually want to see
It
that.
looks so fucking stupid, and
Dude,
I get
it
that's like the point, but I can't. I'm not spending money on that.
But dude, it has 100% Rotten Tomato.
I'm not
Dude.
spending money on that. I'll wait for it to come out illegally on the internet.
Dude,
Yeah. Well,
I swear.
I saw the trailer and I'm like, oh my god, this movie looks so stupid, but it's getting like such good reviews. I'm like, "Ah, maybe I should see it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
it's just a comedic like situation like nobody ever thinks of, and I mean, it's just like, oh, Cocaine Bears would be like If you faced like a coked up bear, you'd be fucked. That's
Yeah.
all I'm
Oh
saying.
yeah.
But no, we can't spend money in that because we have to go see the Dungeon and Dragons movie next month.
Dude,
Yeah,
I want to
I'm
see that.
honestly, I kind of just want to save up to see that.
From what
Honestly,
I've seen in the trailers, it looks pretty good.
It does look kind of sick. Okay.
the humor is pretty good from what I've seen.
Yeah.
It feels like, I don't know. I feel like it's like if you know D&D, it's like even funnier.
Mhm.
But
So going back to the whole Lord
Yeah.
of the Rings stuff, though. So Boodle actually guessed who Sauron was,
yeah,
and he kept bugging me with these questions. Like he'd be like, "That's him, ain't it? That's him, ain't it?"
yeah, no, it had
And
because
He
I'm
sounds
telling
like the
you,
worst person to watch
listen.
anything with.
Because
why are you
see,
so mean?
Because I'm just
I-
saying, like, if you're constantly nagging while watching something, just fucking
No.
watch it.
I promise you, it's not like that. It's just
So
like when
it-
certain things happen, I'm like, that has to.
that's him, right? That's him. Yeah. And I mean, so I'll say this. So he guessed it one time before, but I was able to like play it off as like a misdirect.
Yeah,
And then he was like, okay, something immediately happened after that, and he's like, okay, maybe I have doubts about that guy. I think it might be him,
Mhm.
the other guy. And so a couple episodes later is whenever he says, yeah, that's him. That has to be him.
No, because the scene before there was a scene before that scene happened where he was like, "Yeah, he would." I mean, I killed Sauron. You know, I betrayed him, so he'd probably be pretty mad at me
Yeah.
if he was alive. And then in a scene before, he's like pissed at him, and he's like, "What did I like kill your family or something?" And he doesn't say anything, but he's like pissed.
Yeah.
And then I'm
So-
like, "Oh, so yeah, it has to be
But-
him." Anyway,
But yeah, but so I wasn't, I was not strong enough to resist like telling him, hey, yeah, you're right.
even if you were quiet, I would be like, "No, that's him. I don't care. I don't care what you say. That's him."
Right.
I was so confident, and then I'm right. So I guess we'll
So-
see how he gets
Alright.
revealed. That's what I'm excited for now. We'll
Yeah,
see how
well,
they
so
reveal
the whole reveal thing is going to be epic. And at the end of the show, you get like, I think I already told you this, but you get like a zoom out of like the Middle Earth map where it changes from the Southlands to Mordor, and it's just
That's good. I'm excited. I'm excited.
it's awesome.
I'll give a full review on.
Yeah.
First.
So next time we record, so next week, we'll do a Boodle review on it.
I have an
Review.
idea. I've been cooking up an idea that I think would be good to do for like maybe a YouTube channel for us.
Dude,
That I kind of want
are we gonna
like-
become a React channel?
to.
No.
I'm down.
No.
It's easy. It's so easy to do. I'm telling you. I think that would be fun to do, just on like a
Maybe like
you
on
know,
Twitch or something, and then like edit it
Yeah.
down to the best
well,
bit.
Maybe-
Twitch. I don't know. Twitch would be harder to do that.
Not
So
really.
maybe, hey, seriously, maybe what we can do is like, make a list of like what we like absolutely like and enjoy.
Mhm.
Like, so obviously, I know My Chemical Romance information is going to be for like Hannah,
we
but
hate My Chemical Romance. What are you talking about?
what?
Oh, okay.
What the
Yeah.
fuck is My Chemical Romance? Never heard of them in my life.
Okay, well, anyways,
These
so
losers.
and then for like Boodle, we could do like Warhammer and 40, like Warhammer 40K, and then for me, we could like do that, but we keep on like making topics and stuff.
Okay, we'll see.
I think.
Oh,
I
like
think you
showing
guys
off
should
things that
do-
we
Right.
like.
Yeah, so like we could get together, watch a couple videos, make reactions on it.
I
See,
think
I'm
you guys
sorry-
should
I'm
do,
sorry, Michael.
Reactions to water park songs for all your new fans.
Oh my god!
That I
Dude,
could see where the
yes.
twink is in the video.
Stop! You can't say that you're a straight man. I can't. Anyway, so have you guys been paying attention to the news the last couple weeks?
Yes,
Yes.
I know it sounds bad, but I try to not.
I didn't
Yeah.
ask. So
I wouldn't.
there have been a
The news
lot.
is scary.
Yeah. Speaking of scary news, there's been a lot of interesting things happening in states like I don't know, let's say Ohio lately.
I have seen that.
So I have brought on an expert to help me
Oh, shit.
kind of educate you guys on what's been going on. So, Senor Expert, why don't you go ahead and take this away? This is your chance. The next, like,
I need
40
water.
minutes is all just you. So, what have you prepared for us today? What could Norfolk Southern have done differently?
So I have been brought on to educate everybody about trains.
Dude, I'm ready.
All
Hell
right.
yeah.
I'm getting the water, though.
So, first we got to talk a little bit about trains in America and why they suck. Because they kind of do. So, trains in America are basically run by private companies with few exceptions. So, let's take a look over here. We have our Class 1 trains. So, basically we have our Class 1 trains. There are
Yeah.
4 major railroads in America. There's CSX, there's Norfolk Southern, Union Pacific, and BNSF.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have our short line trains. We're not really going to talk about them too much.
Okay.
Just know they exist.
Yeah.
Then we have our passenger trains, the main one being Amtrak. And then we have commuter trains. So you can kind of think of Class 1s as interstate highways. They basically run city to city really fast, not many on and off ramps. You can think of short lines as your local roads. You would use them to get to your grocery stores and such. Amtrak, it's government funded, but it's run like a private company. It's kind of weird. And then commuter trains, they're basically state funded.
By the way, he is what the internet would like to call a rail fan. He is very passionate about not only photography, but model trains. He's really big into model trains, as you guys know, because we discussed the fact that we went to a model train convention one time, which was
Yeah.
pretty epic. But go on.
Now, basically, because railroads are private, they, oh man, I had a whole presentation. Now that I'm on camera, I've
Oh.
lost everything.
Don't even think about it.
Okay.
Because they're
Dude, the fun
private.
thing about recording is
You can
there's no pressure if you have pauses.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just cut out all the pauses to make it seem more consistent.
Lost my train of thought.
Oh, did you get it?
Oh,
There you go.
you said it.
There you go.
It's okay. Don't stress.
All right. Let me see if I can get back on track here.
Dude, you got this.
All right. So when railroads first started appearing in the U.S., there were a bunch of tiny ones, and being private companies, they would try to outsell each other, and eventually they would buy up smaller ones. They'd make mergers, and that's how we basically end up with 4 large ones today. They would just end up buying out the competition. They'd merge with each other, make larger companies, and being private companies, they cut some corners here and there. So they'll downgrade infrastructure to save money. So lines that were once double track, they'll make them down to single track. And this can cause some problems because then you can run less trains. So they started coming out with genius ideas like precision scheduled railroading, which isn't actually that genius. So what it basically means is we're gonna make trains. Fuck.
We're gonna make trains fuck.
Dude.
Okay, I can't do this. Give me a minute.
Okay. Dude, we got this.
I told him to write bullet points.
You got this, Mike.
I think it's cool that we're gonna actually have some like interesting topic to talk about instead
Yeah.
of just being like, yeah, dude, I've been just kind of playing video games.
Honestly.
You know?
Yeah. True.
Honestly, it's a nice change of pace.
What was I talking about? Oh,
Precision model railroad.
precision scheduled railroading.
Same thing.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
What is this precision stuff that you're talking about?
I'm getting there.
He's getting there, guys. He's got this whole little
Sounds-
thing like going on back
Dude,
here
there
that
you
we
go.
can't really see because we have wired headphones in the year 2023.
Alright, so
Yeah.
you can't even really see my presentation
Well,
anyways.
I'll back up here.
So we'll talk about precision scheduled railroading.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's say you have 2 trains that we'll give 2 hypothetical places. Like they start in Boston and they go to New Jersey. All right. So we have 2 trains a day that do that. And a railroad company took a look at that and said, "Well, I have 2 50-car trains that go there every day. Why don't I just combine them and make it one 100-car train?" And the reason they're doing this is basically trying to cut down on spending. So, less trains, less employees. But this kind of wreaks havoc because now you have a train that's double the length, so it can't really fit into sidings. And employees can't really do proper inspections anymore. So, what happens when employees can't really do proper inspections anymore? Ohio.
Dude, yeah, dude. Just
Ohio.
slap an article on the screen when he says that. Just boom.
So what happened with the train that went to Ohio?
It derailed and it was carrying like was it a train? Yeah, it was a train that derailed. But what was it carrying? What chemical was it carrying? I can't remember.
Vinyl chloride.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean,
Hmm.
it derailed and the chemicals got into the water supply.
Yeah, it did. I remember seeing a video where I guess some like government officials in that area were like, "It's the water safe, guys," and they drank some tap water, and like one of them obviously didn't swallow it, and it was just kind of shitty. I don't know.
Yeah,
I-
the
I
one
hate-
the one that I seen that I was just like, oh my god, on was whenever like there was, I guess there was a scientist or like maybe a reporter that took a stick down like a creek bed,
Mhm.
and as soon as she done, I think it was a female reporter, but as soon as they done that, they had pulled it down the river. It started doing like the rainbow
Yeah.
stuff on it, and I was just like, oh my god! And it's like heavy chemicals too. Like
Oh yeah.
I mean, it like I was just like, holy shit, this is terrible.
I remember when that happened. Because I got some friends up in Ohio, and I was looking at their server just to see if anybody said anything. And other hand, I actually was like, "Are you guys okay up there?" And they're good, thankfully. But still shitty that they have to deal with that. Yeah.
And so one thing I don't think you know, Boodle, is that
Mhm.
the Ohio River actually feeds some of the water that comes to North Carolina. So
Mm.
it's a pretty major like ecological like disaster.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be affecting everybody.
So basically what happened to get to that point? So what happened was the bearing on one of the train cars overheated. And this could have easily been prevented with regular maintenance. Kind of think of your car when you bring it in for an oil change. You have to do that like every 5,000 miles. You don't do that, bad things happen. Get sludge buildup or no oil, parts are rubbing together. Car overheats, breaks down. Same thing can happen on a train. You don't go in for regular maintenance, parts can overheat and fail. So this train started in St. Louis. It was traveling all the way down to Pittsburgh. Happened to be traveling through Ohio when one of the bearings on one of the cars overheated. And there's like video footage of this thing like 20 miles away, and sparks are flying from it.
Ooh,
Ooh.
pretty.
So eventually the axle failed and the train derailed and leaked tons and tons of chemicals into the water. Could this have been prevented? Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%.
So there are, every so often, there are little scanners on the side of the railroad that will scan the train as it passes and let the engineer know if there's any defects on the train. And the train passed one of them like 20 miles away when sparks were flying. For some reason, it didn't report that something was wrong with the train.
Hmm.
So that's kind of weird. Not sure why that happened.
So that didn't happen in just Ohio. It happened. There was like 6 trains derailed this week, wasn't there?
There's a
So
lot.
I saw like a week or two after that initial train derailed, another train derailed, and it was another Norfolk Southern train. What was that train carrying? That also had toxic chemicals on it. It had DG hazmat, but it also had what?
I don't know what that one was carrying.
It was like some, it was like some pellet or like hay or something like that.
Yeah,
that
the
one.
car that actually derailed was just carrying grain.
Yeah, so
like the train
grain.
itself had
Yeah.
chemicals on it, but,
But
those cars were far away
It was
from it.
yeah, it was so far away from it that it didn't really affect too much like Ohio. But the thing about this though is that, and you're a train guy, so like everyone's like, well, hundreds of trains derail every year, so it's not a big deal. Like, what do you mean it's not a big deal? Why are these trains derailing, Michael? What's happening here?
So, again, it goes back to the companies being private. So, they want to make money. That's the name of the game. So, they're cutting employees. They're cutting back on maintenance. And cutting back on inspections. So, things are starting to fail. So, another issue that's been brought up with precision scheduled railroading is it wreaks havoc for the train crews. Because basically you have an engineer and a conductor. And if it's a short train, the engineer drives the train. The conductor, he'll switch tracks or he'll ride the back of the train if they're backing up. But another job of his is to inspect the train before they leave. So if it's a short train, it's easy to inspect. They'll find things that's wrong with it. But trains just keep getting longer and longer and longer because the railroad company doesn't want to pay for multiple trains because then they have to pay for multiple crews. So they just pay one crew instead of like 2, 3, 4, however many trains there used to be. They keep combining them into less and less trains. So that means they don't have a lot of time to inspect the train before they have to take off, and there's more cars that they have to inspect. So if there's something wrong with the car, there's less of a chance that they'll figure it out before the train actually leaves. And that's kind of what happened in with that derailment, is they don't have a lot of time to inspect it. They just got to get going. So cars that might be bad or failing, they just don't know about.
How is that legal? Is that like a serious like? Isn't it like super dangerous to have only 2 people on like 100+ car train? Like that's not safe at all.
Yeah,
How is that legal?
that seems like negligent.
I hate to sound like downer, but at this point, I'm not surprised with how other things are going in America right now.
Yeah, I mean everything's just really shady. Like corporations and all the other shit. Like
Jacob's in his anti-capitalist dark.
Dude, I am honestly.
I've been in it, honestly.
You just bought
Like,
3 books.
Well,
like I understand. I
They're
understand.
used from a thrift store, bitch.
So
like
I understand.
Like a
Oh,
lot
I'm
of this
sorry.
was like brought up in with the railroad workers with the railroad strike.
Oh yeah, we talked about that briefly a couple weeks ago. Do you guys remember
remember.
that? So
Yeah.
I remember
can
hearing
you
about
just
that, yeah.
go into that just a little bit? Because that really kind of goes into why this is happening, right?
Yeah. So for what they have to do, railroad workers are pretty underpaid. They don't have any paid sick time, and they're forced to basically be on call all the time. So one day they could work a train at 10 a.m. The next day they're like, yeah, it's 3 a.m., but you got to come into work. So they don't get a consistent schedule. They kind of work whenever. And because trains just keep getting longer and longer and longer, it's not becoming safe anymore. So the railroad workers are like, hey, we're being treated like shit, and the railroads aren't safe. But And what would have happened is they would have gone on strike, and it basically would have shut down the country. Because a lot of goods, like, like coal, which is sent from coal mines by train to power plants, so people would have been out without electricity if trains weren't running. You have shipping containers like Amazon, FedEx, UPS. They use trains for long distance packages, so stuff isn't getting to where it's supposed to be. You're not getting stuff on store shelves or at your front door anymore. It basically would have shut down the country if they went on strike.
Mm-hmm.
So the president stepped in and said, hey, I know you're being treated like shit, but you got to get back to work because you're going to shut down our country. So they were forced to get back to work, and the railroads just keep being negligent.
I feel like I'd rather, and I know specifically where we work in logistics, we work in like that kind of stuff. It definitely would have fucked us up. Even like I remember when the strike was happening, we didn't get any supplies, no paper, we couldn't get shit. I would have rather had to deal with that than all like a massive hazmat like situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like now you're looking at like that absorbing in that water, especially like the water. If you see videos, I've seen videos on TikTok of like people going into creeks and stuff, and the water, all you can see is just the rainbow from the chemicals. And now that's getting evaporated into the air and going into the clouds and raining down, now you've got acid rain and you've got like people's well water and all that shit like fucking up. So like I would have kind of dealt with near total economic collapse over this, because at that point then that would have forced people to pay attention and like care, you know what I mean? Sorry.
Actually, you brought up a good point there with the supply chain, because that's actually another side effect of the precision scheduled railroading. So, like, because you have less trains running, stuff isn't going where it's supposed to. So, let's just say, like, I have a factory in Boston, and there's only one railroad that ships cargo in and out of Boston. So, I need to get something to my factory, and basically what would happen is if there were a lot of trains running, I could get my stuff quicker. But if there's only like one train a day there, it can take days and days for it to get there. Because, like, let's say, I don't know, pick a city.
Chicago.
So let's say my supplier's in Chicago. So they gotta send a local train out to pick up the thing. Then the car will sit in a rail yard like a day, wait for them to send their one train to Boston, and then I gotta wait for like another day where it sits in a rail yard for another local train to send it out. Versus if I just hire a truck, they can get it there a lot quicker. But not everybody has that choice. If you send things by train, you're probably sending it in bulk. So it can end up taking days and days because there's less trains out there delivering stuff. So it just kind of like gets this stranglehold on supply chain, making things take a lot longer to get where they're supposed to.
So I think the theory was when this first happened in Ohio that there was no maintenance on the track itself. I think that's what the main theory was at the time. So what's your take on that? And then with all the new information that we've got so far, I think it's been like 3 weeks now, 2 or 3 weeks since this has happened, and we're just gonna keep getting more info after this. But like, what is your thought on like everyone's initial theories, and then like with the information that's like slowly trickled in so far, and the fact like that they're like basically just trying to save face right now instead of putting in any real effort towards doing better. Like, what do you think they could have done differently? What do you think that like could have prevented this from happening?
So what I think could have happened better, they keep kind of like cutting employees to save money, and I think that's the wrong thing to do. And I mean, like any company that during the pandemic where they laid off a bunch of employees, and then when things started getting better, they didn't hire anybody. They just expected everybody to do double the work. I mean, this is no different. So the tracks, they seemed like they were fine. I mean, it was a main line, so it gets repaired pretty regularly. But what failed was the train car itself. So, I mean, they need to have more people out there doing inspections. They need to have more maintenance workers. I mean, they still need to check the tracks. That's what the train runs on. It would prevent a lot of derailments if you have good tracks.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing, too, is you need to check on failing cars. So what the railroads need to do is just stop cutting employees and expect the ones that are still there to do double the amount of work. And, I mean, another thing, too, is, like, from the government itself, there aren't really a lot of rail inspections. I mean, the FRA oversees the railroads, but they're pretty underfunded. So, I mean, if you put more funding into that, you can get more inspectors out there making sure that these companies are actually doing what they're supposed to.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we just talk for like a quick second about how like countries in Europe and Asia have like great rail systems?
Dude, yeah.
I think part of the reason why our rail system sucks is because one, we rely heavily on cars, like in cities. Like Mike's like, oh, we have a car culture, because you're always like, you go to a city, there are like very little crosswalks, no sidewalks, because everyone's fucking driving. But also because America is just so big.
Yeah.
Like, we can fit, like, look at Europe. I mean, you can be like, go through like 3 different European countries in an hour, whereas like in an hour you're still in like the same state. Like, if you think about it this way, you have to go to an airport and fly in California to get to another part of California.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I think that's probably the reason why.
So, a lot of like railroads in Europe are owned by the government. So, in France and Germany and Switzerland, their rail network is pretty much all owned by the government. And in America, they're all pretty much private companies. And that can cause issues because, again, the private companies don't really want to invest in better infrastructure. They're kind of happy just coasting on the profits that they're making.
Yeah.
And they don't really want to upgrade to like high-speed rail if they don't have to, because they own the tracks. They're happy with their slow freight trains. Most of them don't want anything to do with passenger trains, and this causes our passenger rail network, like Amtrak, which has to rely on federal funding and running over privately owned rails to kind of like negotiate with these freight railroads, saying, "Hey, I want to run more trains," and they'd be like, "Nah."
No, thank you. I love Amtrak.
Got mad.
Here goes.
I don't know how well this is going to show up on screen.
It's okay, I can zoom in, but you can send me the digital file too.
Yeah.
I can just put it on the screen. But
So this is all the railroads in America. This big ass spider web here.
Yeah.
So you know what's interesting?
This
We actually
is
have...
where we have passenger trains. Notice a bit of a difference?
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah.
So, Boodle, do you remember learning about the June bug line in school?
Dude, do you think I
The
remember
what?
anything?
No? Okay.
Dude, he's
So,
too high. to
when we were in
remember his
elementary
childhood.
school, we learned about the June bug line, which is a rail line in North Carolina. So in the county that we live in is where it was established, and it's Alexander County Railroads is the company on it, but it's not a functional railroad anymore.
Well, I
But-
saw it going by one time in Statesville.
Well, I mean, they still operate it, but the company, I don't think the company's like, I don't know. I don't think the company's doing anything
It
anymore.
was crazy. I was coming home from work and it was like coming across that overpass,
Oh yeah,
and I was like,
yeah,
dude.
but
And then I was driving past it. It was crazy. Anyway.
basically, I'm pretty sure that railroad goes from our county all the way to Charlotte or Raleigh. But see, so the county that me and Boodle live in is a very, I guess, very good industry for textiles.
Mhm.
and furniture. I forgot about furniture.
Yeah.
Furniture is more of a recent thing, but textiles has always been like what our county does, um, and that's how that they would transport all the goods to like a hub, and it's just very interesting. Trains have like helped us so much. Like they're very underappreciated.
They
Oh, yeah.
are. Like, I didn't even give a fuck about trains. Like, I knew they existed, but I didn't know, like, to the extent. I didn't really know about, like, cargo trains, you know what I mean? Because I just knew Amtrak and, like, passenger trains and, like, whatever you see on TV, you know what I mean? I didn't really understand, like, the whole supply chain aspect of it, you know what I mean?
It's kind of weird because like different parts of America will have like different trains. Like where we live, it's like Amtrak owns the train tracks through our town, and they're running like 50 passenger trains at 100 miles an hour a day, and it's great. You know, we can go up to Providence, and like 40 minutes later, we're in Boston. And that's awesome because last time we drove to Boston, we were stuck in traffic for like 2 hours.
I'm sorry, we're gonna cut you off right here. So we were going to go see My Chemical Romance. Doors opened at 6 or 6:30. I'm like, okay, we should probably leave at 2 because of traffic, and it was like towards the end of the summer, and that's when everyone's really out, like kind of living their life. So they're like, oh, I gotta make summer count. And Mike's like, no, we'll leave at 4:00. Because typically without traffic, like it'll take like it's like an hour and a half drive to Boston, but it took us 3 hours to get there. Whereas if we had just taken a train because of how fast they are, it would have been like 40 minutes. However, the only sad thing about Amtrak in that area is they don't run like at like 11, 12 o'clock when we would be getting out.
Yeah.
Which is another thing, probably because they don't have the people to like work that late.
Amtrak's like trying really hard to improve right now.
Because remember when we went to what was it, Brooklyn, to see?
Was that Angels and Airwaves?
Yeah, when we went to Brooklyn to see Angels and Airwaves in New York, and we were able to get an Amtrak out of there at like 3 a.m. But like in Boston, in that area, no, like nobody's out there. Probably because they have MBTA.
Yeah,
right?
MBTA is like
So
the local commuter
that's probably why they don't run that late over there.
train. Yeah.
So,
But like down south where like you guys are, it's just like it's all cargo trains.
Because I remember you came up here and you were like, "Whoa, we don't have this over there," and I was like, "Really?"
We had trains, but nothing to that level.
so I don't think we have any passenger trains in North
We
Carolina.
don't.
And I think the only thing that we really have is Tweetsy, and Tweetsy is,
Dude,
I wouldn't even call that a
Dude.
passenger train.
I remember Tweetsy, dude. I remember.
Dude, Tweetsy was awesome.
You're the rail king. What does that mean?
I don't know what the Tweetsy is.
Oh man,
So
You guys
Tweetsy
are
You've stumped him.
is it's a theme park, and they offer train rides.
Oh.
Here, hold on, I'll send a link real fast.
Hold on, link. I got it.
I'll post
You need to see
the
this.
picture on the screen. Sorry, Spotify listeners.
This is my train experience.
But so basically, what you're saying is what Norfolk Southern can do, and what all these other train companies, especially what's your favorite CSX, what they could have done differently, and what they can learn from this experience is just to basically, at the end of the day, it just kind of boils down to properly staffing your crew. You know what I mean? Like, we were looking at it earlier. What's it starting at? $23 an hour.
Yeah, $23 an hour to be a train conductor.
Retail workers are making that much money.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which well deserved. I'm not like trying to like I guess I am comparing, but I'm not saying they don't deserve like $23 an hour in retail, because God knows retail is fucking difficult. But you're operating like heavy machinery, and like at that point, like the entire country is like relying on you. I don't think $20 an hour is like.
So, like, I mean, basically, yes, hiring hiring more staff is probably what they could do without the government stepping in.
Yeah.
Because if you really want to force the railroads to do better, you could, try getting the government to be like, hey, things aren't going well. Can you force these guys to hire more people or make sure maintenance checks are getting done or limit train lengths so you don't have these 200-car trains that they just can't inspect?
The government won't do that. They're
No.
too busy banning drag shows and forcing children to detransition.
Dude, that shit's crazy.
But
as
we'll get
well.
into that
Yeah.
next week.
Oh.
No, what were you saying?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I mean, people always talk about how, like, Europe or Japan has such a better rail network and how it's owned by the government. But, I don't really think that our government, if they did nationalize the railroad, if our government would do a good job of running it.
Look
They
at the
would
post office.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that, but with trains.
Gosh, yeah. That's a
yeah,
fair
you're
point.
right.
That's a fair point. Like a fair and valid point.
What you're saying is I should just move out of the country.
And like dish out thousands of dollars to
Canada.
denounce your citizenship. Oh my god. Even when you're leaving, they're still fucking you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
My phone's charging good.
So, why are you so interested in trains? Like, what's the appeal?
It's a
Like,
loaded-
no, I know that sounds really bad because I'm always bullying Boodle, but like, I'm genuinely curious. I don't think we've ever had this conversation. Like, what's like, what like gravitates you towards trains and like model railroading?
I mean, trains in, like, real life are really cool. I mean, giant machines. They're, like, the size of a building. They're hauling, like, 100 cars. It's awesome to see them go by.
It is. Not in the winter, though, okay? You want to take your winter train trips, you're going to go alone next time.
But, I don't know, model railroading's pretty cool. Like, you almost get, like, it's cool, like, making the stuff, painting the stuff,
Dude.
and it's almost like you get to make, like, all these, like, little landscapes and things, and it's just kind of cool, like,
So it's
being
kind
this
of like,
giant god and watching the little train go through.
to kind of like
Yeah.
relate it to
I completely
Boodle, it's like
understand
when
that.
you're doing like your Warhammer stuff. There you go, the painting and like the scaling, the model building, like that. All the supplies that you're using to paint and like scale your trains and everything like that can be applied to like Warhammer or like
Yeah.
D&D and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Dude,
Ooh.
me and Michael
Speaking
went to a Warhammer store and he got something for his model train stuff.
Yeah.
Did that ever work out?
I don't know if I ever used that paint, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What? I got an airbrush, but it kind of sucks. Like,
Dude,
it ends up making
same.
everything look like polka dots. So what I ended up
Yeah.
doing was, like, I got these, like, weathering powders, and I put them on with a brush, and it makes it look a lot more realistic.
Yeah.
He's really good. I mean, if you want to like send me pictures so I can plop them up, they're pretty good. But do you have anything else to add, or like, or is that like that just about it for you? I mean, you did a good
I
job.
see the appeal of trains.
Yeah.
I get it.
I like it when they go choo choo and their name is Thomas and they say, "Hi, I'm Thomas the Tank Engine."
Like,
Dude, I watched that as a kid.
jokes aside, like, trains are probably, like, the most efficient and most environmentally friendly form of land transportation. We just don't really use them correctly in this country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you,
There's a lot of
Elon
things
Musk.
we
Now,
don't-
if Elon Musk invested in trains,
Dude, I don't know
So-
how that would work.
Tesla, choo choo.
Like, electric
Dude,
cars,
electric train.
not a fan of.
So bad for the environment.
So, like, lithium-ion batteries are, like, lithium mining is horrible for the environment. Not to
Yep.
mention, like, the batteries, like, all that battery acid that you gotta throw out when you're done with it.
Yeah.
And,
God forbid it lights up. That thing's never going out.
oh, yeah. And, I
Yep.
mean, even, like, the tires, like, all the rubber waste. So, like, versus in a train, like, if you got an electric train, it's a lot, the power source is with it, so it doesn't need batteries because it runs on overhead lines. It can haul a lot more than a car. So, I mean, a train could probably fit like 100 people versus your car, which has like 4 people. And I mean, even like a diesel train, it's still better than like your average car, like 100 cars on the highway. One train is polluting a lot less.
So if you're listening, Elon Musk, you need to invest in trains instead of these little cars, okay? At Elon Musk, 1, give me my Twitter account back, and 2, invest in trains.
You know,
This
I,
is-
I
Elon's
like the
smart because
idea of
Americans love
electric
cars.
trains.
Well, yeah, but Americans also need...
It should be how like it is in other countries where it's like you can get cars, but it's more of like a haha, I can get one.
But this is America, okay? We are number 1 in the world, okay? We're America, okay? We're the best, okay? Bald eagle falling across the screen.
I don't know about that one.
Sorry, I had a little
But-
wine today.
Yeah, I can
So
tell.
there is actually kind of a shift from like car culture to train culture. Train culture, yeah, if you could call it that.
My uncle,
That was a-
you and my uncle would be best friends. I feel like because my
You're-
uncle loves model cars.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you remember if we were in that store. I was like, "Oh, dude, they got model cars here." My uncle
For a
would be
second,
crazy.
I didn't process that, and I thought you said your dad, and I was like, what the fuck?
Dude, Boodle's uncle is so cool.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah,
I love Randy.
Is he single?
He's good. He's a good man.
yeah. He's very influenced by Facebook, but he's good. Yeah, deep down.
Okay.
But yeah, one thing I wanted to add to the whole lithium ion and how it's bad for the environment. It's just so interesting for me to be, in the car industry and just see how
You're the
how far.
enemy. Shun
Well, see,
him! Shun him!
So the thing is it's interesting for me to see like how everything's going from a company that had no like electric option on it up until 2020 with the Pacificas. But and see how much heavily more influenced it is right now. It's crazy. Like a lot of people don't like it. And I mean
Mhm.
rightfully so. I mean, cars I think like trains, cars like trains, they go better off of the fuel, and while I guess the gas is more, I guess, bad for the environment than what like diesel or the overhead line trains is like it's just like way dirtier. But I'm snowballing right now. See, it
That's
happens to me
fine.
too.
It's
But
fine.
because I'm trying to figure out where I was trying to get with this point.
Lithium ion? That's
Yeah.
how you started the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
So-
So Chrysler is coming out with like so many electric engine options for 2024. It's crazy. Like they're doing a fully battery powered 1500 truck, and then they're doing a fully battery powered like Jeep, right?
Yeah,
And it's just very very interesting because it's just like I'm like, I get that they think that that's the future, but it's just
still
to me,
have the
it's
option
not.
for.
I mean,
Mm.
like having an option, but like they've killed like 3 engines with Chrysler, and that's the 3.6 Pentastar, the 5.7 Hemi, and then the 6.4 Hemi.
Aren't they
And
like
so the-
recalling a bunch of Teslas too?
Yeah,
I think there's a service bulletin on it right now,
Yep,
and it has something
I
to do with the wheel bearings. The wheel bearings are failing,
At this
and it's
point,
causing the car to like creak.
yeah, at this point, I don't even like
They'll
want
start
my.
a fire in Ohio.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, somebody else already beat you to that.
Mhm.
But at this point, I don't even want my license, and it's not just because I failed my test twice. Okay, it's just so expensive. Gas is going up. The cost of used cars went from like $2,000 up to like $5,000 for the same
Yeah.
car, and it's just I can't get a car anyway because I can only have one car in this apartment, and like it's not worth it right now, honestly.
So-
I've been waiting
one
to
thing-
get a car for so long, and it's just been more and more difficult.
Yeah. So one thing I can say right now, the market is still kind of high for used car, but you'll start seeing that crash within 6 months.
I hope the housing economy crashes too. I want a house.
Well, yeah, and I mean the crash, the crash is coming for the housing market. Like It is coming.
Time to start looking, baby. I want a nice yard.
I mean, it's just the interest rates. The Feds have raised the interest rates so much that it's definitely going to crash the markets at some point. It's just we don't know when.
We revolt against the government.
Dude, I would be down because
go.
honestly, I've been like becoming
When
like
Michael's
very
the voice of reason,
pissed off.
you know something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, we should like protest together. Let's go to Washington.
Dude,
That's a lot of work. I don't know.
Anyway. But
but
yeah,
But yeah.
I think we just about covered everything.
Oh,
we didn't talk about D&D.
Okay, talk
Yeah,
about
we didn't talk
D&D.
about
Michael,
D&D.
you like D&D, and then we'll wrap up.
I'm gonna send him the rule book, but I don't know if he will
Okay.
care about the One Piece part of it. But I want him
So-
to see.
So, Boodle, at some point during this, I'm going to read the notes that was posted in the general for that server.
I saw
Henry?
that. Yeah, someone posted notes of what happened.
So, Boodle, so this goes along with something that we did last week on starting a new show. So explain to us what our campaign was.
So we played a version of Dungeons and Dragons 5e that is One Piece themed, and it has a rule book. I made my fucking hold on.
Okay.
That's funny. Anyway, and I posted it in our chat if Michael wants to look at it. If I don't know if he would care, but it's like the whole rule book, and we based our campaign on that, and it was very fun. And that was like my first real like D&D session that I felt, confident with like my character and the backstory I did. I felt really confident going into it, and it turned out very, very good. And the platform we were on while we were playing it felt really immersive, and I think that helped as well.
Yeah.
But it was very fun. My character, I love my character because not only did I get a rare item that gave me ice powers that fits my character that I made, but we also got 2 other like things that give people powers.
No, we got three other. Yeah, we found all 4. Okay, so they're called devil fruit. Okay.
Yeah.
So we found from what Noah was telling us, which for all of our listeners, Noah is our dungeon master. And
crazy.
so what he had to do is he had to roll dice to see how many how many devil fruit was on the island. So basically had to roll it, and if it hit like a certain count, it would get access to devil fruit, and it hit. And then he had to roll a d4 to see how many devil fruit we'd have, and we max rolled on it, so we got 4 devil fruit on the starting island.
It was like how many would be on the island, and then we had to roll like investigation each time, and the number would change depending on how many were on the island. And we all like got 10s, which was the number that we needed to find one. So we were pretty stacked to begin with.
So Kyle found the first devil fruit, and
it was the ice one. I remember
it was the ice one, and he gave it to Boodle.
Yeah.
And then I found the second one by swimming in the water, and it was just floating there. And then I think Declan, it was either Declan or Kyle that found the other one again, and it was like a sweet smelling one. That
was so dumb. I love it.
Yeah.
All it is a devil fruit that lets you like wring people out like laundry and like clean them. That's it.
Oh, that's actually really funny.
I forgot that was a devil fruit in the show.
Yeah. So it had that, and then we found something called a Zoan fruit, which I'm not well versed in One Piece lore, so I don't know what that is.
Well, if you do continue watching, it'll explain it later on. But I can explain it now if you want me to.
We'll explain it later. Let's just get to the meat and stuff. So, Boodle, what class are you playing?
I'm playing. It's like a custom class for this. It's called a bruiser, and it tells you what it's like based on. I can see. So, yeah, bruiser is like a mixture of like a warrior and stuff or something like that. But I was a bruiser. I had a big club, and I was a big dude, and I hit people with my club.
And so I am a fishman priest, and my character's name is Callisto Wavelight.
Dude.
But the thing about Callisto Wavelight is he is a priest of the Death Domain, right? So he's a dark priest. But so fun little fact about my D&D like character backstory is that like every time I've played D&D, and I've only played it, I wouldn't even really say that the first time that we played it counts because we didn't finish the campaign.
Yeah.
Boodle. But the first time we played, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna write Boodle into my background story.
Yeah.
And that has just been something that I've continued with this campaign. So basically, Callisto's family dies. And
spoilers.
Because, well, it's not really spoilers,
what
but
were you doing to Mike? He's yawning over here.
Past my bedtime.
I'm sorry.
You good?
But basically, his parents tried to take down Poseidon, which is a character in the One Piece universe too. He's prevalent, and tried to kill. So they tried to kill Poseidon, and his parents die. And he gets exiled from the island and meets Boodle's character, which is Cole Boreas, right?
Yeah. Cole Boreas. Yeah, that's my guy's name.
Cole Boreas.
Yeah.
And we become best friends because I try to steal food and I get caught and almost killed. And Boodle's like, nah, bitch.
No, bitch,
dead.
I own people and I say,
I'm going to smack you with my fucking club.
Oh my god.
And we become best friends. So basically I made it like a point like for my personality to like always protect Boodle like over other people. And so last night we were in like a combat situation and Boodle was off by himself and I'm like God, I'm trying to help you, Boodle. I'm trying to help you. And basically I cast a cantrip, Toll of the Dead, and I killed this bitch, and it was so cool because Noah was like, "Yeah, you." Well, it was a bandit, so the bandit was trying to kill Boodle, so I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna help the homie out.
You're like that one person in our GTA maps that just wouldn't let me get anywhere near fucking Boodle without killing me.
Basically,
Yeah.
you're simping for me.
But the way that Noah is like, he's like, oh yeah, he's like, so what happens is you cast the spell on him or on the bandit, and then basically you see a very faint, like dimly lit bell appear above their head that's black, and it starts ringing, and then the character just falls down.
Just ragdolls, yeah.
Dead.
Dude, Ollie's character cut somebody clean in half and described it in detail, and I was like, holy fuck.
I was like, dude, this is crazy. But yeah, dude, it's really fun, and I can't wait until the next session. But I'm gonna read off the notes of what happened.
Okay.
So
I think we ended on that.
I think that Ollie did it better. But what were you gonna say, Hannah?
Oh, I said, how much? We're already an hour and 13 minutes in.
So it's not too long. It's like maybe I wouldn't even say they're full paragraphs, but it's like 4 small paragraphs. So Ollie, this is from the script of Ollie. Shout out to Ollie. You're the man. You're that dude.
Yeah.
During our adventure, it came to our attention that the crew was involved in smuggling drugs for Captain Boblin, which R.I.P. Captain Boblin. He died too soon. We encountered a serpent that stranded us on an island. We had to fend off 4 Navymen during struggle. We then discovered two new types of devil fruits named the Zoran devil fruit, which we came across in the metallic or heavy fruit. We also met a person named Mori who seemed to be from the eastern part of the world. While we were in a local shop, Thug stole Jakey, which is an NPC. It's not me. Stole Jakey, and we had to track them down to their bandit hold. We managed to rescue Jakey, but 2 of our crew members suffered grave injuries, and
Yeah.
4 bandits were killed in the process. Yeah, and that honestly, I was so worried that somebody's going to die there.
I thought I was, because I was getting bad rolls that whole night.
Yeah.
Disrespect.
In exchange for a new ship, we gave the bandits the captured Jakey. Additionally, we learned that Lenny had consumed the wash devil fruit, which is the pink one that smells good. And Ward, which is Ollie's character, had consumed the Ishi no Mi, allowing him to control stones. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a character's devil fruit in the show.
Well, so he was telling me about that earlier in Discord, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna like surprise everyone, but I guess I need to let him know that it's in his notes that he posted."
Yeah, it's okay.
But yeah, that was definitely a great experience. Unfortunately, like I said, my allergies have been acting up, and I was like, by the time we were finishing up with the that combat room, the very last combat room, I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to get off because my eyes just like it was about like this.
Oh yeah,
It was about like this, and I just couldn't see out of this eye basically.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, other than that, that was like it was a really good time, and I can't wait for next Friday.
I don't know if it is going to be next Friday, but
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah,
But that's all I have.
yeah,
Great. That was a good podcast. It's gonna be really interesting to edit this
Yeah.
one. My back really fucking hurts because I had to like scrounch. Sorry, Spotify listeners, but if you look at the YouTube,
Scrounch.
I'm like scrunkled over, like what is the word? Hunched over.
Yeah,
Because I have wired headphones.
I'm sorry.
And Mike and I have to share. I suggested that he join on his Discord in the other room, but he wanted to be out here with me because he loves me so much. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
But yeah, that was a really good podcast. Just to recap for the people who just had us on in the background and weren't really paying attention and are now tuning in because we're ending. We just basically talked about our weeks. These nerds talked about the Lord of the Rings show on Amazon Prime and One Piece, and this nice little respectable gentleman without a conductor's hat talked about trains and his general knowledge of the situation and what Norfolk Southern could have done better. My name's Han. You can go ahead and, like the icon on the screen suggests, follow not only the podcast accounts on all of these platforms, but go ahead and follow me on the Instagrams, the YouTubes, the TikToks, the Spotifys, because I have really good taste in music, Twitch and Twitter. I've been posting a lot lately, trying to get back into my content creation phase. And that's it for me. Michael, do you want to say anything? You want to promote anything? Any really nice hobbies that you do?
Now you're putting me on the spot here.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. Trains are awesome.
Yeah.
Support Amtrak.
He also has an Instagram, mevins.photo, where he posts his photography. What is your thing? You have a love of travel mixed with a passion for trains, so it's really
There you
cool.
go.
Go check him out on there. And that's it for us. You guys take it away.
My name's Boodle, and dude, I am excited to watch some Lord of the Rings after this.
dude, hell yeah. So, in just a quick little surprise that I think I'm gonna go into and go ahead and say it. So, I haven't talked to Boodle about it, and I don't think I've said anything to Hannah, but I think I'm
You have a
going
girlfriend?
to. No,
Oh.
no, I don't. God, I wish I did. Um, gosh, you bring up painful memories. I'll have to tell you something after we record this.
Oh.
But yeah, because there's development to that. But anyways, so I am going to, I think, start compiling some of the clips that I have, and I kind of want to upload it to YouTube. That of us playing.
I will help
Oh
you.
yeah,
I'll
because
show you what me and Hannah use.
my medal,
Okay.
my
But-
medal isn't. Oh no, what's he doing? Spotify listeners, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, you
Amtrak.
can't see this, but there's an Amtrak train just brushing past my face right now.
Mhm.
Comic
but
relief, Michael over here.
Yeah.
but
My medal
that
has
is
been
something I
acting
want
up.
to do.
I've been wanting to do that, but it just hasn't been working right.
It messed up mine too. I don't know what happened.
But yeah,
I don't
that's
think I'm
that's
gonna be able
good.
to
Like, go ahead, do
yeah.
that. That sounds fun. You have some
see-
silly clips where you're murdering me for no reason, so.
It's fun.
Yeah, me and Boodle have like my favorite clip is the movie moment that me and Boodle had together.
Yeah, that one was fun.
That was fun. And but yeah, I just wanted to point that out. You know, like just basically touch on what Han said. You know, give us a like and follow on us or follow us on YouTube, Spotify, you know, whatever platform you can think of, we might be on it. If it's like a major platform, you know, Twitter, Twitch.
On the count of three, we're gonna go ahead and say our favorite thing to say.
Okay.
You know, this is Jacob's
I
favorite.
know.
It's hanging high.
This fucker, I didn't even get to count down. All
Dude.
right, that's it. Everybody, it's been the Hanging High podcast. We'll see you next week.